Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for day one in the Partners for Veteran Success Workshops event series. Today, we will be hearing from the Illinois Department of Veteran Affairs and the Illinois Department of Employment Security. Our presenters will cover federal and state education benefits today. If you have questions at any time, please feel free to use the chat feature in your Zoom toolbar to ask your questions. And of course, our presenter will be sure to answer as time permits. Do want to let you know as well that today's session is being recorded and will be made available on the Illinois workNet YouTube channel for you to refer to later as well. Now, without further ado, I would like to go ahead and welcome Jerome from IDES. Jerome, feel free to take things away.
Good morning. My name is Jerome Roshan. I am with, hold on. Let me start again. Greetings, I am Jerome Paul Roshan. My job at Illinois Department of Employment Security is a Veterans Career Coach or Disabled Veterans Outreach Program Specialist. I have been with the IDS agency since 2005. I've served in the United States Air Force as a combat engineer. The Illinois Department of Employment Security appreciates the selfless service of our U.S. military service members and spouses. Next slide. Okay. My computer's a little slow. Here we go. The objectives for this presentation is the introduction of the Jobs for Veterans State Grant Program. What is a Veterans Career Coach or a DVOP? What is a Veterans Business Specialist or a leaver? Next slide. All right. The state of Illinois receives a JVSG annually to fund the JVSG program. JVSG, in case you don't know, is the Jobs for Veterans State Grant, which consists of two groups of Veterans Employment Representatives: Disabled Veteran Outreach Program Specialists. There's about 20 of us in the state, and then the local Veterans Employment Representative. There's about 18 in the state. Next slide. Leavers and DVOP staff, required knowledge, skills, and mental development equivalent to a 4-year college degree in social, behavioral, business, administration, or marketing. Have to be a U.S. military member, must provide a 214, characterized as other than dishonorable. Preference will be given to VA service-connected disabled veterans for the DVOP position, and within 18 months or higher must pass the federally mandated core competency courses at the National Veterans Training Institute. Those are always fun classes to go to. All right, DVOP, the Veterans Career Coach. The DVOP is specifically trained to provide assistance to our veterans most in need. Our core functions are conduct an assessment interview with each veteran that self-attest to one or more significant barriers to employment, or SBs. Collaborate and create an individual employment plan with the veteran. Develop client interviews through job orders with veterans. Partner with the veteran business specialist or a leaver to develop job opportunities directly with area employers. Oh, jumped. All right. Next slide. The Veterans Business Specialist, leaver. Primary focuses promote the advantage of hiring veterans. Develop job opportunities for veterans that are working with the Veterans Career Coach or any AJC staff. AJC is American Job Center. They advocate for veterans with their American Job Center operational area. And in partnership with the Veterans Career Coach or DVOP, train the American Job Center staff in partnership on how to provide employment services to veterans. Sorry about that. If you have any questions, you can send email to the DES myvetrep@illinois.gov, and you'll get a response. Let's see. Thank you for your time today, and look forward to any questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Jerome. And just want to reiterate for folks that are on the line, if you do have any questions at any time during the session, feel free to throw those into the chat, and our presenters will be sure to get to them as time permits. Again, thank you so much, Jerome. Our next presenter today will be covering some of the education benefits and more specifically things geared towards the GI Bill. I do believe we have Enrique on the line to present. So Enrique, feel free to take it away whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Enrique Cabrera with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. I've been doing this position for several years now. And today I would like to inform everyone about their education benefits, whether you reserve Chapter 30, Old Montgomery GI Bill, post 9/11. Also inform about the Yellow Ribbon Program, as well as state benefits. So hopefully I'll cover everything here. And if not, if you have any questions, I'll look into the chat and I'll respond accordingly. So next slide. Okay, first, could go back one, please. I'm sorry. What I'm going to do is talk about the types of different of GI Bill, the choice of GI Bill, payments amount. Those are a little off, but still, they still apply. How to apply for these benefits, the Yellow Ribbon Program, guidance, as well as state programs. And with further ado, the next slide, please. So the first type of GI Bill that we have is the Montgomery GI Bill Reserve, Chapter 1606. This one also applies for the National Guard. While you're a drilling reservist and or a National Guard, you receive the Chapter 1606. What that is roughly $400 a month for every month that you are going to school. You'll also see how that comes into play with the Illinois Veteran Grant, or the Guard Grant, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Also, the Montgomery GI Bill is called Chapter 30. These are the more or less old timers that were in before post 9/11. That currently is for 36 months, roughly around $1,900 a month, I want to say. And it's for 36 months. Also, the post 9/11 Chapter 33, which everyone should be familiar with now, that pays tuition and fees directly to the school, as well as the veteran receiving a housing stipend. That's also can be used as a transfer of entitlement if you want to transfer it to your spouse and or dependents, but certain qualifications have to be met. Survivors and Dependents Education Assistance, DEA program, Chapter 35. This is a very important one. This is the one I always get questioned on. It's usually for members that are 100% service connected. Their spouse and or children can receive the benefit of Chapter 35, which currently is around $1,250 a month. And also the Montgomery Marine Gunnery Sergeant Fry Scholarship. This is basically the post 9/11 GI Bill for spouse and or dependents if the veteran dies in the line of duty. Okay, and next slide, please. Chapter 6, and I'm going to explain a little bit about these chapters for everyone. Chapter 1606 is a 6-year obligation. You have to complete your initial active duty for training, remain in good standing. You also have to have a GED or high school diploma. And like I said, you're entitled to 36 months. The key thing here is, and what I see a lot with the National Guard, is that when initially the National Guard veterans want to use their benefits, they need to make sure that their NOBI, I guess it's called, it states that they do have a high school diploma or GED. If it doesn't, that's when they need to call their education service officer down in Springfield to get that corrected, or no payment will be used. Next screen. I do want to mention these benefits can be used at any school that we, state approving agents throughout the country have approved for benefits. So you can use them here, you could use them online, etc. Long as they've been approved by us, state approving agents. What is the old Chapter 30 benefit? Provides benefits at least if you've done at least 2 years of active duty. Again, you have to have a high school diploma. Benefits are only payable for 10 years upon discharge. If you do not use them within 10 years, they expire. And also, it's a 36-month benefit. Now, all these payments are made directly to the veteran with the exception of post 9/11. So if you are going to school, this is the benefit you receive. Next screen. Post 9/11. This one started after September 11th. Basically is a benefit that you can receive upon discharge. If you were discharged prior to January 2013, you have 15 years to use this benefit. If you were discharged afterwards, January 2019, it never expires the benefit. You could use it now or you could use it later. The benefit of this school is tuition and fees are sent directly to the school, and you receive a housing stipend depending on the locality and the zip code. Any questions so far on the chat box? Anything? No?
Looks like we did have
Okay.
a few questions there in the chat. If you could take a look, Enrique.
Let me see. I would like to know how to get in contact with dislocated veterans. Is that one? Let's see.
I believe so. I'm not sure if that should be directed towards ID. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of that one right now.
Excellent. Thank you, Jerome.
Okay, that one's
And
not
Enrique,
mine.
doesn't look like we have any additional
Okay.
questions, so feel free.
Okay, next screen. This is a Chapter 35. What I do want to mention before I go any further, you're probably asking, how are these benefits applied? How do I know if I get full benefits? Full benefits is determined by the college and or university. Usually 12 credit hours, which is four classes, usually each of them are 3, is considered full-time. So if you're going full-time to school, you'll receive the full-time benefits and or tuition and fees. If you go less than 12 and you go 9 credit hours, then you're a 3/4 student, so you get 3/4 of benefits. The other thing I do want to mention that plays very important here is the type of a percentage you received. Not all veterans are 100% eligible for the benefits. Some only come on for 2-year contracts. Some come in for just come in for active duty time, like recalled. Each of those months depends on your percentage. So it's okay to say that if you do 1 term full active duty, you're going to get the 100%. If you do, if you're in the Guard or you're a reservist called into active duty for at least 90 days, you'll get 50% of your benefits, and so on. And it's a cumulative. So anytime you come on active duty, you can send that information to the VA so they can increase your percentage. And that'll entitle you to more benefits as you're going to school. Okay, now I want to touch on Chapter 35. Chapter 35 basically is for any veteran that is 100% service connected, has a disability. What the VA does is your children up to the age of 26 can receive this benefit if they're still going to school. Your spouses can receive that up to 10 years after you've been designated. So it benefits both the spouse and or children to use these benefits. And currently right now, the payment for this Chapter 35 is $1,250 a month. And that's at any school that's been approved. Once I get on the state benefits, you're going to see how some of these benefits actually help veterans that are Illinois veterans as well. And I'll touch it down a little bit later. Next screen, please. Same thing. The other thing I do want to mention, it's very, very important. Suppose you have a child that is a junior in high school. You're 100% service connected, and you've already registered your child as a Chapter 35 beneficiary. There's an additional benefit to have this in line. Once your child becomes a senior, the VA gives an additional 5 months of benefits to the 36 months they're going to receive while they're in college. Why? Basically, this is to prepare them for college. So right now, the benefit is, we'll just say an even $1,200. They're a senior in high school. They're going to receive $6,000 prior to going to college to get them situated. And then once they're there, they'll start collecting the benefit once they start college. So it's very, very important. So if you have any children that are reaching age, please contact my office, and we'll make sure to contact their high schools that they're in to get this program up and running. We do most of the work. We do 90% of the work for the veterans on this. So please remember that benefit for your children to go to college. Next screen, please. Fry Scholarship, basically, this is the post 9/11 GI Bill for surviving children and or spouses. They'll get the tuition and fees paid for, as well as and it doesn't matter, as long as they're on active duty, etc., they'll get the 100% benefit. Doesn't matter if they were only did active duty for a little time, is if they were deceased on active duty. Next question, next screen, please. Okay, I'll touch up on yellow ribbon. Anybody? Okay, I have a question here. Let me answer it before I go any further. The first question, I was in the USN from 1974 to 19. What am I eligible for? If you were an Illinois resident, you're not entitled to federal benefits. Your benefit has expired, but you're possibly going to be entitled to the Illinois Veteran Grant. If your first enlistment where you swore your right hand, in Illinois, could be entitled to Illinois Veteran Grant, which I'll touch up a little bit later and explain that one. The next question, I have a service-connected disability rating 80%, which of 80%. I got COVID in 2020, which affected my disabilities severely. My GI Bill benefits expired in December 2020. Is there a way to appeal to try to use my remaining benefits? I want to say yes and no. You can appeal that directly to the VA, and you can file a claim with them through Ask VA and explain your situation. The only key thing there possibly would be if you were attending school and it did affect your benefit. In that case, I believe they would probably say yes. However, if you weren't attending school, but you got COVID, that's a 50-50. That's something that you would have to file a claim. So it's possible. The next question, I got out in 1996. What educational benefits are available? Just like I said in the previous email, your entitlements to federal benefits have expired, but you possibly could receive Illinois Veteran Grant, which I'll explain a little bit later. Okay. Now, the Yellow Ribbon Program. That is a great program. A lot of schools use it. And basically what that is that every year, the GI Bill is allotted for roughly, it's 26,000 something right now, but I'm just gonna say 25,000 to explain this. So every year from August 1st to July 31st, the veterans that have 100% allowance are entitled to $25,000 a year. If you go to a community college, Illinois college, public college, you're never going to make that max in a year, usually. However, if you want to decide to go to a private school, those colleges are usually cost a lot more, anywhere between 25,000 and up. So I'll take ABC University, for example. Their tuition yearly is 40,000. The VA only going to pay $25,000. So what happens to those difference to the $15,000? If the school is in agreement with the yellow ribbon program, what happens is the VA and the school pay the difference. So basically, the remaining 50, the GI Bill will pay the $25,000 initially. The $15,000 remaining will be split up by two. $7,500 will be paid by the GI Bill, and the other $7,500 the school will most likely absorb. That's how the GI Bill works in a nutshell. However, it's very, very important to make sure you go onto the VA website under yellow ribbon to find out what percentage or what amount does that school color yellow ribbon program. They might advertise yellow ribbon. We have the yellow ribbon, but they might only cover 5,000 out of a 40,000 scholarship. So, for instance, 25,000 the GI will be paid. Yellow ribbon is only 5,000. The other 10,000, you're on the hook for it. So it's very, very important to double check to see what percentage, who's entitled to receive the yellow ribbon program. Is it the first 10,000 that apply for that semester? Is it for all veterans, 100%? Or is it only 10% of the class? So be very mindful of that. It's a great program, but you got to be very mindful. Any questions? Nope. Next screen, please. I always get this question, which one's better, the Montgomery GI Bill or post 9/11? Here's the deal. It really is up to you and what benefits you. On the VA websites, there's calculators in there that you could put on. You enter the school, you enter the tuition, and it'll break this down for you. I'll sum this up real quick. Montgomery GI Bill, roughly, if you're a full-time student, 12 credit hours, like I said, it's $1,900 every month for 36 months. If you go to the community college, you go a semester, the tuition might be, argument's sake, $4,000, $5,000. The term is 3 months. So you do the math. 3 times roughly 2,000 is 6,000. You only paid 5,000 for tuition and fees. The other 1,000, you keep it. That's up to you. Same thing if you're going to a public school, a university, more or less you can wing it. Just the opposite. If you go to a high-priced university, the post 9/11 will most likely give you more money than the MGIB, the Montgomery GI Bill will be. That's up to you. There's one thing to add on the Montgomery GI Bill. If you are using the Montgomery GI Bill and you could make it last 36 months and you exhaust that benefit, 2 more benefits are going to come out of that. One, if you put the $1,200 to pay for the GI Bill, you're going to get that refunded once it's exhausted. And if you're still in school, you get an additional 12 months of post 9/11. So, like I said, which one's better? It all depends on your needs, and use the calculators on that. Like I said, MGI Bill might be great for one of these community college universities. Might not be good for a private university, but if you make it wing it out, you got that paid, you get your $1,200 back, and you also receive an additional 12 months of post 9/11. So you get 4 years out of the deal. Okay, next screen, please. And if you see on the bottom, there's the comparison tool where it gives you the information. Continue. Next screen. This is basically what I was saying, and I summed all this up, the differences, how to use it, private school, public school, etc. I just summed it up in an easier way. Next screen, please. Same deal here. And if you'll see the Illinois Veteran Grant and Illinois National Guard Grant, I'll explain that a little further in a second. Next screen. Same thing with the Chapter 35 versus the FRI. This is one that the veteran has to make eligible. You have to make an election. Do you want to keep the Chapter 35 $1,200, or do you want the FRI, quote unquote, post 9/11? Again, You go down and you do your calculations. You find out which college, university you want to go to, and use it there. Next screen. Again, here it is. Okay. I'm also going to talk about other facets that you could use the GI Bill. Any questions on colleges right now and universities before I go any further? I'll give you guys a minute to type something up if you want to have a question on that. No questions? Okay. Give me 1 second. Just need to see one screen real quick. One more second, please. Thank you. Okay. Here we go. All right, basically, this is just the payment screen of what it is. I do also want to mention before I go any further on this, you'll notice on right here it says apprenticeships and OJT. This screen, I must have omitted it, but I'm going to explain what that means. Not only can you use these benefits to go to colleges and universities, excuse me, you could also use them as going to learning a trade, an apprenticeship, OJT. So if you don't want to go to school, but you want to learn a trade, the GI Bill will also pay for this. And basically what it is that an apprenticeship is anything that's over 25 months of training, 25 months, not to exceed 60. The on-the-job training is basically the same program, but it has to be 6 to 24 months. And what's the difference? Apprenticeship is a trade, a builder, a truck electrician, working on the railroads, etc. OJT is a 6 to 24 month program. You decide to work for the state of Illinois. We have apprenticeship program. We have a training OJT on that to learn a job. Also becoming a fireman, a policeman, you could receive the OJT training as well, etc. And what happens with that? Very simple. Your GI Bill, when we go and approve one of these programs of training, we ask for one of the key things is your wage scales, what's your beginning and what's your ending on your wage scale. And usually when you first start out at a trade or OJT, the salary's down here and the OJ and the GI Bill's here. As you're training every 6 months, it goes down 20%. Why? Because your wages should be going up and it tips the scales. On top of that, every month that you're in training, you receive $83 for books and supplies. And also, suppose your training is 5 years. You're thinking, well, at 20%, my GI Bill is going to be expended. Yes and no. Your GI Bill is only taking 20% out of that once it reaches that point. So you might complete your training in those 5 years. However, you'll still have a little bit left over if you want to continue some other kind of training. So that's the difference between the GI Bill and using it at a college, university, or learning a trade using the apprenticeship. And if you like further information, please contact me and we'll explain it to you in a little further detail. Or the next training we have, I'll go in more detail on the differences. But so you could use it there. The next screen, please. Same thing here. Just doing a comparison. MHA means monthly housing stipend allowance. See how apprenticeships and training goes down. This is just a comparison. See, the rates are a little bit old here. It says 24, we're up to 26. Next screen, please. Same thing, doing the comparison. If you went to college and used the GI Bill, and if you went to apprenticeship, it's just doing a comparison there. Next screen. To apply for the Dependents Education Assistance Program, again, you would go to the VA website and under DEA program, and it's self-guided. It's very easy to follow. Quick question here. If a veteran is in an apprenticeship with a union, can they receive their GI Bill? What if they don't have an honorable discharge? Could they use VRE during the union apprenticeship? Okay, if a veteran's in apprenticeship, yes, they can use their GI Bill. One, the facility has to be approved. If it's not, we'll go out there and start the approval process. If they don't have an honorable discharge, good question. I've only seen having an honorable discharge to receive your GI Bill. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, someone. VRE is not an education program. That is an employment program. What was it called? Voc Rehab, I want to say, the old version, and that's an employment. So that's totally different. The way I see VRE is that you're unemployed, you're getting training, and with the expectation of getting a job at the end. So whoever VRE specialist is, please, if you can answer that one for me, that's all I want to talk about that, because I don't want to step on anybody's toes if I say anything wrong. So totally different program, but yes, it could be under the apprenticeship if it gets approved through that program. Next slide, please. Same thing, you go to the website. These are the old forms. You go on there, it's very simple to fill out the forms. Next screen. Okay, before I touch up on state education programs, is there any other questions to the federal programs before I move on? Give you guys about 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Because these state programs have nothing to do with federal programs, the funds at least. Am I doing good? Okay, here we go. State education programs. This is where some of the questions that are asked that I got out of 96, I got out of 98 are entitled to anything. We're going to see if you're entitled to state education program. And this is just for Illinois veterans. These are for veterans that their first enlistment was here in Illinois. You threw up that right hand. So what am I going to talk about? The Illinois National Guard grant, the Illinois Veteran Grant, the MIPOW Scholarship, which works hand in hand with the Chapter 35 for the Dependents Education Assistance, and Children's Veterans Tuition Waiver. Next screen, please. What is the National Guard grant? Basically, the Guard grant is you're an active drilling guard. You can go to any Illinois public school for free. Tuition and fees are paid for. So you can get a 2 or 4 year college degree. It's up to you. You apply through ISAC. Everything's done through there, and it's called units, 120 units, which is basically 120 credit hours. They take care of everything, your tuition and fees. And it's like I said earlier in the brief, you have to make sure your NOBI says you are a high school graduate or have a GED, or it's kind of hard to get this fixed, and you need to get it fixed through your education service officer. The Guard grant. Now, the Guard grant is paid directly to you, which is $400 a month, and the tuition fees is paid for by the through the state. That's correct. Any questions on that? No? Okay, next screen. Same thing, the Illinois Veteran Grant is a little different. This is if you've done an active duty at least 1 year, 12 months, you're cumulative. Basically, you can go, you can receive, you get a letter from ISAC, the same thing. You go to any Illinois public school and your tuition and fees are paid for to attend school. That's what it is in a nutshell. And these are certain requirements you have to meet. Not in default to student loans, et cetera, et cetera. Next screen, please. Just to touch up on the last one, the two questions they asked me, if I'm entitled to, I got out in 96, 98, and if you want to go to school, the Illinois Veteran Grant might apply to you. All you have to do is do a engine search, Illinois Veterans Grant. It'll take you directly to the ISAC page, and that's where you apply. You're going to have a DD 214 handy because they're going to request it. Usually within 2 weeks, the Deerfield office will get back to you and let you know if you qualified or if you didn't qualify. Next thing, second to last thing, MIA POW scholarship. What is this? This is for any veteran that died in the line of duty, was missing in action, POW, and is 100% service connected. This is basically the Illinois Veteran Grant, but for spouse and or children's. What it does, it pays the tuition and fees at any Illinois public school. So before you qualify for this, you have to have Chapter 35, which I mentioned earlier through the federal education benefits. Once you have that letter says, yes, I'm entitled to Chapter 35, two things could happen here. One, Chapter 35, you can use it at any school that we have approved throughout the continental United States, etc. But if your child and or spouse decides to go here through Illinois and decides to go to any Illinois public school, what happens is the tuition and fees is paid through the MI POW scholarship, and the Chapter 35, the $1,250, could be their stipend for every month they're in school. And remember I said, if the child's a senior, they get 5 months free prior to going to college. So they get a total of 41 months of benefits. So it's a very good benefit, MIPW scholarship. But the key thing is start doing it as soon as possible. Spouses have up to 10 years to use it. And the children continue to receive this benefit up until they're 26 if they're still attending school. Runs hand in hand with the Chapter 35. It's just an added benefit the state of Illinois gives its veterans. Any questions? Okay, next screen, please. Same thing, a little bit more. See, has to use it, et cetera, right here. Natural child, adopted child, or stepchild. Okay. I'm gonna answer two questions here, and I have a real good question. If I enlisted in New York but live in Illinois, do I still qualify for IFNG? That's gonna be a yes or a no, and I'm gonna explain it to you why. Initially, no, because you enlisted from New York. However, 2 years ago, down in Springfield, they approved the Illinois Veteran Grant for anybody that can prove that they've been living in the state of Illinois continuous for 15 years. So say you moved here 10 years ago, you have a property, you have your driver's license. At the 15-year mark, you could apply for the Illinois Veteran Grant, but you have to prove that you've been here 15 years. That came online 2 years ago. Is there a place that finds the right MA pays for the tuition and Chapter 35s? Yes. The thing is that Chapter 35 on the federal side, let me repeat the question, please. I'm sorry. Because this is moving up and down. Is there a place to find that in writing that MA pays for the tuition and Chapter 35 does not have to be used for tuition? I just really had trouble with saying that I couldn't use them at the same time. Depends on where were you going. If you're using this at an Illinois public school, there's not going to be an issue. They know how this program runs. They're going to get the tuition and fees paid for by the MIA POW scholarship, and the Chapter 35 goes directly to the child and or veteran wherever they have designated the account. No questions asked. If you are trying to use it at a school other than an Illinois public, that's where you're going to probably have an issue. Because one, the Illinois Veteran Grant and the MIPAW Scholarship is only for Illinois public schools. There's actually no money. It's just a transfer of paperwork that goes around. So if you try to use it at a private school, a cosmetology school, it's not going to work. They're not going to accept the IVG. We're not going to accept it. And you're going to receive the Chapter 35 only. And again, you could use, if you go to Illinois public school, tuition fees are paid for, you could do whatever you want with that stipend, pay for housing, for food, etc. Next question. I'm a veteran who enlisted here in Illinois and had the GI. Can I still use a state benefit who enlist? Yes, you can. You need to go to, type in Illinois Veteran Grant. You'll see ISAC and you apply online. Have your DD 214 ready. And like I said, within 2 weeks, they're going to let you know. Should be no problem. This was Illinois Community College. You can contact me again. Which Illinois Community College? No, SWIC, no, that's incorrect. Incorrect. You guys can contact us. You can contact me. Tuition and fees is paid for by the MIPAW/IVG. Chapter 35 can be used however you want. Here's the other benefit that you have here in the state of Illinois. This goes for IVG, post 9/11, GI Bill. Other states that I don't want to mention make you use the GI Bill first, and then you could use their state benefits. Here in Illinois, you can use one term IVG. Okay, I'm working. I can use IVG. Next term, I'm going to use my post 9/11. Boom, boom, boom. Or use it hand in hand. I'm not going to tell you how to use your money, but you don't want to kill two benefits at once, post 9/11. But you could do whatever option you want to be done here in Illinois. I want my MIPAW used this time, and I want my Chapter 35 because I want to pay for my housing. Simple as that. That was the business office told the veterans office. You can contact me. SWIC is not my school, it's one of my colleagues, but I can still contact them and let them know this is incorrect. We approve federal benefits. The state of Illinois approved IVG and MIPAW scholarships. We do it all the time. So at the end, I'll give my email out, or Mr. Daniel Pride. Yes, they do need to get that straight. They can't mess that one up. Okay, any questions on the MIPAW scholarship? All right, let me see. Next screen, please. Children's of Veterans a tuition waiver. Okay, this one here is a benefit through the University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. Basically what that is, each county in the state of Illinois can elect 3 children to use the waiver down in Urbana. Certain qualifications have to be met. From what I know, the priority, of course, if the veteran had died on active duty, their names go to the top, and then it goes down, service connected, blah, 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 blah. It's a great program. All you need to go straight to type in Children's Veteran Tuition Waiver, University of Illinois, and file the application. Whether you have and I believe a disability has to be involved, but there it is. It's worth a shot, especially if the veteran has died on active duty or died of their injuries, etc. And all the regulations are there. I don't want to touch it, but there it is right there. I'm just giving you the brief on that. Any questions on it? And it's all down there. Next one. Oh, there it goes. That was it, the sub. Yep, that's it. Any other questions that I may answer before I get off? Oops. Let me get this done here. Any questions? Am I still on?
Yeah, you're still on. You're okay.
Oh, okay, because the screen went small. I see one more question. Somebody somebody typing the message here. Kirk Young, thanks to everyone. Okay. All right. For the person that emailed me, here's my email. So I'm gonna include my email. So you can email me directly on that question about SWIC. Again, that's incorrect information. And SWIC stands for Southwestern Illinois College, I believe. It's not one of my schools, but I'll figure it out. If there's any other questions that you may have, you can direct them to me. Please, the only thing I ask of you is to provide me an email, a contact number, the location you live, and what school you're talking about, because there's 5 of us state approved agents / veterans education specialists. They handle different areas, and that's where I will direct your question and or concern. So again, thank you for your time. I look forward to the next meeting. Hopefully I provided some information on how to use your GI Bill and federal as well as state. And thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Enrique. And I do believe we have a colleague of yours, Frank, who will be on the line as well to present this next portion of the presentation.
All right, let me just turn off this.
Where is your contact information?
I'm putting it in right now. I did already send it out. Here's my
Okay.
email.
Thank you.
You're coming online. I'm off.
Yeah, whenever
I'm off.
I'm ready. Greetings. I don't know if I'm on. Okay. You want to turn off your?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm off.
Greetings, can everyone hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, Frank.
Is that a yes?
Yes, you are good to go, Frank, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
All set. Whenever you're ready, just let me know when to advance, Frank. Thank you.
Outstanding, thank you. Greetings, everyone. My name is Frank Delatorre, Veteran Service Officer with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, located in Elgin, Illinois. To give you an overview of the different benefits that we assist veterans and their family members and helping them apply and navigate the VA compensation arena, if you will. Next. So I'll give you a few seconds to read our mission statement. Now, Illinois Veteran Service Officers help veterans with numerous types of benefit programs. Not at any time are we ever a complete subject matter expert. However, we do our best to help veterans navigate the complexities of applying for benefits. And basically, a veteran comes to us as a starting point, and then from there we do more research and making sure that the veteran is properly applying for whatever program they need, if you will. Next slide, please. So Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs consists of 1,300 people, and there's several offices located throughout the state from north to south. Next slide, please. They have 48 full-time locations, and they have 38 part-time itinerant sites. The goal is to have 75 full-time employees, which includes veteran service officers and supervisors. Now, within the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs Veteran Service Officer Locator map, there's a link and it expands, and you can move your cursor over to the region where you live, and you click one of the little icons, and it will tell you an office location, phone numbers, point of contact, hours, days that they're available. You have to explore that so you get used to it to find an office that's close to you. Next slide, please. So, there's numerous veteran service organizations out there, too many to name. However, the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs has veteran service officers that are accredited with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. We do have knowledge in state, federal, county, and military benefits that are out there that are available. However, we don't always have the answer right away, but we utilize the resources and our fellow colleagues to help, find the correct answer in order to provide a value to the veteran. One last, let me mention something before I move any further. After the presentation, I will answer brief questions at the end of the presentations. And if there's any really detailed, complex questions that you may have, then at the end of the last slide, I'll make sure that you see where I have my email address, so you can contact me. And so if you have a personal question, I hate to have you discuss your personal matter in a public setting, but I would always make myself available to see how I may be able to assist. And what I like to do is when I work with veterans is to establish a relationship where I'm helping them help me help them. So in other words, it's a collaborative effort. We make sure that all the paperwork is filled out completely, typed out neatly and nicely. However, it's up to the veteran to make sure that they're providing us accurate information. Ultimately, the veteran's signature is going to go on all the forms. So one of the first things you might want to do when you reach out to Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs service officer is to have your a legible copy of your DD 214 ready to go. And if you had already been receiving any service-connected disability or have any other type of award letter, have that ready as well, because that expedites the process in having your file updated within the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs, and you just start moving into the next step and trying to complete the process, an application process for a benefit claim. We like to work efficiently that way. So next slide, please. So these are some of the programs that we assist people with, depending on the person's capability. We provide as much assistance as possible. A majority of what we do is we help veterans apply for disability compensations. What's disability compensations? Let's say you're in the service, any branch of service, whether overseas, combat, non-combat, on duty, off duty, and you acquired a chronic health condition, injury, or illness while you were in the service. Then if it's documented properly, Hopefully it is. Well, we'll help you with that process and applying for VA compensation. Pension, pension is a program, not your retired military pension, but pension is it's a non-service connected it's called non-service connected pension. That's a program for folks who have no money or very little money, and it's an income-based program. We will help you with that as well. VA home loans, over time, um, that program's got a lot easier. I think veterans now, for the most part, if they want to apply for a VA home loan, they work with their lender and they just provide their lender a DD 214, and they have a computer portal that marries up with the VA home loan office. However, there's always mitigating circumstances, but if you have an issue with the um, home loan issue, I would connect you with the VA home loan officer from Atlanta, Georgia, since they're the subject matter experts. And should you have to submit any other documentation to the VA home loan program, folks, I will assist you with that. VA education for veterans. Enrique explained in depth the programs and the resources. We also provide people some guidance with that, and then we lead them to the different types of health education benefits that they're looking for. I skipped healthcare. That's one of the most important programs that I try. What I work with, well, I think most veteran service officers do. Whenever I have my first initial contact with the veteran, one of the first questions I ask is, "Are you enrolled in VA healthcare?" And depending on the answer, I try to explain to them that it's advantageous for them to sign up for VA healthcare. There is some qualification factors with that. However, that's one of my priorities in assisting veterans, is to make sure that they apply for VA healthcare, and or if they're already enrolled in VA healthcare, I recommend that they continuously go back and revisit a clinic and become in good standing, because the benefits are unbelievable and the quality of care is amazing, based on my experience and other veterans that I know. I'm sure there's always horror stories out there, but I have not personally witnessed anything like that. Next slide, please. Okay, so basically, compensation, disability ratings are subject to be evaluated by an adjudicator. So basically, whenever you submit a claim, there's got to be documentation. There's no special secret or technique to get a claim approved. In most cases, the veteran has to have some type of documentation that they had treatment for some kind of injury, illness, or disease. And then currently today, they need to have some current diagnosis. They have a condition and it's got to be tied into their military service. Disability ratings range from 0 to 100%. So if you put in for, let's say, wrenched ankle or tennis elbow, and you receive a rating of 0%, that doesn't mean that you were denied. 0% means you're service connected. However, it's not a compensable rate. So in other words, you're not receiving money because that condition is not severe enough to warrant monetary compensation. However, in the course of the years that follow, should that health condition become worse, all you would need is a diagnosis, and we submit, and we will help you with that. Special monthly compensation. That's another schedule that the VA has for folks that either have family members that are housebound, need aid and attendance. The veteran may fall under that category, especially if it's a service-connected disability, loss of use of arms, legs, and side. It can loss of use of male reproductive organs in general. So there's a possibility that you may qualify under one of the schedules for the special monthly compensation. And of course, all VA disability and compensation is tax-free from both state and federal. Next slide, please. BDD claims are basically a claim that if you're on active duty that you want to file before you separate from the service. And that's probably the best time for you to file a claim. So if you're on active duty, you would probably want to start working on filing for your disability claims before you get out. So we can move on to the next slide for that. Okay. Again, to get into the details and how you cannot, file a BD, a before disability claim, we can move on to that. Those are just details. We can move from that slide. Veteran pensions. Again, this is not the pension that you would get if you're retired from the military. These are a different special category for folks that have little money or or no money or little money at all. It's income based. I mentioned earlier, you must have served at least 90 days within with 1 day during a wartime period. The VA has a list of wartime periods in the website. You must have non-service connected disabilities that prevent you from working or be 65 or older. In most cases, the ones that I usually process are for veterans that are 65 and older. And again, this benefit, if awarded, is not subject to any federal or state benefits. Next slide, please. Additional benefits are paid to offset nursing home and in-home care. It may be paid even if a spouse remains in a primary residence, must be eligible for basic pension to qualify. So, and what this slide is basically saying that sometimes when folks are in a assisted living center or they're at home and they have folks that come in and do healthcare for them, provide healthcare in their home. The VA will consider those expenses against their income. Next slide, please. So here's some basic bullets on what VA healthcare provides. Give you a few seconds to read the list. I go there for all my flu shots, outpatient care, labs, mental health services and counseling, nutrition counseling they provide. And then veterans returning from combat, our theaters are given priority for scheduling appointments. You must have served on active duty, have other than a dishonorable discharge. If you're service connected, that gets you into VA healthcare. If you served in Camp Lejeune during those inclusive days for the Camp Lejeune water contamination period, that would automatically get you into VA healthcare and receipt of a VA pension. Next slide, if you will. Okay. VA home loans. The program allows you not to have to put money down on a home. Certain closing costs are limited by the VA. No private mortgage insurance, the PMI. There's no penalty for early loan repayments. And again, with the VA home loan program, the main office is out of Atlanta, Georgia. The VA has links for the VA home loan program. So if this is an area that you want to research more on your own, I recommend reviewing that. Again, there's resource personnel in Atlanta, Georgia that can answer all your specific detailed questions. There's not everyone has the same question or concern, if you will. Next slide. Again, these are some, take a few moments to look at each of the bullet points for via home loan uses. Typically to buy a home. In condos. Take a home loan out for home improvements. Next slide. The PACT Act. This is a new congressional benefit that was added to the VA list of disabilities that are considered presumptive. Presumptive meaning that that if you have this condition and if you met the service criterias and you have a diagnosis, that you're automatically considered service connected, and then it's a matter of degree on how severe the condition is, if you will. So I'm not going to read each one, but I'll give you a few moments. I'll give you a few moments to just look at each bullet point. Next slide, please. Department of Veterans Affairs. There's several veterans homes that you may be qualified and eligible to apply for your residency. There's veteran cash grants like the veterans monetary grants. For example, war bonuses. Illinois also, Department of Veterans Affairs, they host like some annual lottery games, and money that's earned from that or collected from that goes to different veterans programs. Depending on your disability rating, but if you're at least 50% service connected, Illinois will issue the DMV departments will give you a disabled veteran license plate if you're service connected 50% or more. If you're at least 10% service connected, you also get your fishing hunting permit, and there's also tax exemptions. Go ahead, that's next slide, please, if you will. Here are some locations of the veterans homes. Again, Illinois State Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs website has links to each of these homes and also provides the qualifying factors. So if there's a friend or a family member in your community that may benefit from applying to one of these veterans homes, the basic information is there. And then I will do, or any other veteran service officer will provide guidance in reaching out to the folks who handle the application process for any one of these homes. Next slide, please. I'll let you review the bullets for eligibility. So in Quincy and Anna, you have to have at least, honorable discharge, but you don't have to be a wartime veteran for those two facilities. Next slide, please. So the scholarships, grant scholarships and bonuses. So there's a veteran cash grant. The like I mentioned earlier, there's money that's generated through lottery tickets since 2006. So if you're interested in applying for a cash grant, there's a link that's there that will help you navigate that request. Education scholarship for dependents. Enrique mentioned that there was the MIAPOW, Veterans Education's Opportunities for Children, county scholarships to University of Illinois, and bonus payments for Illinois wartime veterans. Next slide, please. If you're 100% permanent in total, we can issue you a free camping, Illinois state camping permit, 10% for the fishing, hunting. I mentioned earlier that you can get a veteran put on your driver's license, and that you can also get the disabled veteran license plate. And the state fairs, they usually have Veterans Day at the fair where you get free admission. Next slide, please. Here's some charts for the disabled veteran property tax exemption or homestead exemption. So if you're 30 to 50% service connected, they will take the county that you live in, whatever county. I would recommend contacting your local county tax assessor. So what they'll do is they'll take $2,500 off the total assessed value of your home. And then if you're between 50 to 70, they'll take off $5,000 off the assessed value of your home. If you're at least 70% service connected or greater, the county that you live in Illinois, you'll be exempt from paying your property taxes. Next slide, please. Illinois Joining Forces is a program that it's a networking support platform, if you will. So you can find different services and contacts and different organizations that provide services to veterans. It's been around for several years, and it's something worth exploring. Next slide, please. So where to get services? So go to the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs website. You can call the 1-800 number and ask to be connected to a veteran service officer in your area. Eventually, within 24 hours, 48 hours, somebody will return a phone call. I get emails all the time. Please contact so-and-so, and here's their number. And once I make that initial contact, and everything falls into place, and I help them navigate whatever services or needs or things that they need to take care of, if you will. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a link through the VA where you can find out who else is an accredited veteran service officer. Next slide. And here is my email. So it's frank.delatorre, the number 2 at illinois.gov, Illinois spelled out. So take a few moments to write that down or copy and paste it. So that way, if you have any specific questions or needs, send me an email. Please let me know your name, the last 4 of your social, your phone number, what county you live in, and I'll do my best to reach out to you or find someone from your region, from your county to help you. But I definitely, one way or another, I would get back to you. At this point, I'd like to open the floor up for any questions or comments. I'll do my best to answer general questions, But what I do not want to get into is answering your specific detailed questions on healthcare issues or something to that effect. I'll wait a few moments for questions. Okay, well, my contact information is there, so if you do have any questions, I want to thank you for your time and allow me to present. Yep, frank.delatorre2@illinois.gov. That's correct.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that presentation, Frank. And of course, huge shout out as well to Enrique and Jerome for their respective presentations. If you take a look at the chat, you'll see both Enrique and Frank's email addresses there as well for you. So again, as Frank stated, if you want to go ahead and jot that down, copy and paste it into a Word document, feel free to do so now. Aside from that, we are coming in a little bit early here today, so just want to make sure if folks have any questions, again, especially those that are kind of generalized nature, as Frank stated, feel free to drop those into the chat. And of course, we'd be more than happy to get a response for you. We'll go ahead and give about 30 seconds or so for folks to enter any questions that they might have into the chat. If there is something more specific that you want to reach out to either Enrique or Frank with, in a less public setting, if you will, feel free to reach out to those folks. And I'm sure they'll get you connected with the right people to get your issue dealt with. Additionally, here too, I do want to make note that we have recorded the session. So all that wonderful information that was covered here today as well will be provided on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel within 48 hours of the conclusion of this event. So if there's anything that you want to go back and review from today's presentation, you will have the ability to do so again within 48 hours or so. And I see something that came in here into the chat. Okay. Thank you for that note, Gigi, much appreciated. Aside from that, a few things that we want to note here before we wrap up today's session is that we will be holding 2 additional sessions as well. We will not be holding a session tomorrow for Election Day, but we will be back on both Wednesday and Thursday. We will be holding on Thursday, I believe we'll be holding a state employment workshop. So what we'll be doing is covering the state application process. I do believe we'll have central management services on the line to kind of outline what the new state application process looks like and how you can go about applying. And I do believe there'll also be some veteran connected resources as well in that presentation. So feel free to join us for that session. You can use the same link that you registered for today's session to join that session as well. And we'll also send out reminders for both of our additional sessions coming up. Wednesday, we'll also be holding a resume workshop as well. And also, I believe they'll be covering some elevator pitch tips as well. So just kind of getting you prepared for getting back into the workforce, being prepared for those job interviews, speaking with recruiters, et cetera. We'll have National Able on the line, giving a really good, thorough presentation on that as well. Aside from that, I thank everybody for joining us here today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, we look forward to seeing you on hopefully both Wednesday and Thursday. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.